Y'all, Wednesdays is becoming my favorite night of the week for TV. Like, you have Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, the girls are bringing it as usual, and then the encore on BET. Oh my god, I have so much to say on this episode and my review for the encore, so don't miss that. Make sure you catch that. But first up is Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And last week we got an Emmy-winning performance from Erika Jayne with the tears and the mascara running down her face. I mean, apparently there's some of you that actually believe her. And you know what? Erika's a likable person. Fine. I ain't buying it. I'm just not. And I like her still, but it's just hard for me to buy this story. Ooh, speaking of stories, we will get to that later in this review. But anywho, the episode opens with all the ladies packing for La Quinta, which is near Palm Springs. They're going for, I want to say 2 to 3 days, but we see Dorit and Rinna packing like they're going for a week. We see Kyle on the phone with Sutton, and she says Crystal, Erika, and Garcelle are going to be staying in a hotel while the other ladies stay at the house. Next scene, we're with Erika, and we see that she's selling her clubhouse. Basically, her Erika Jayne office that we've been seeing for a couple of seasons. She says it's an expense that she doesn't need. Well, it's an expense now that she can't afford because the money's drying up. I'm guessing it's the end of an era. She had it for like 3 seasons, didn't she? What I'm really wondering is, now that she has to close the Erika Jayne offices, will she be able to afford being Erika Jayne going forward? Because as we know, it costs her $40,000 a month for glam. I wonder if she's going to keep her glam team at this point. As she's walking around the empty space, you know, we're having flashbacks, and it looks like she did have it for like 3 to 4 years. So I know this is such a big change for her. I really feel bad. But all this was funded by plane crash victims' money. It's funny how the way she's exiting the space, it kind of reminds me of when Will Smith was leaving the mansion in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. She's just looking and then like just walks out. So next scene, we're in La Quinta at Kyle's amazing house. Like, if it's one thing, this woman has some great real estate thanks to Mauricio. So she's on the phone with Garcelle. I am so proud of their friendship. They have come a long way. But yeah, Garcelle says she can't come until the next day. She's filming the reel. Kyle is showing off her house, and it is so beautiful. La Quinta is 30 minutes away from Palm Springs. So yeah, I'm very excited. I leave Wednesday. Can't wait. So we see some of the ladies arriving. Lisa Rinna, of course, Gucci down to the socks. Kathy Hilton, my fave, and Dorit. Do y'all notice now how Kyle keeps bringing up Crystal and Sutton's feud? No one's bringing it up but her. Kyle, stop it. We see you. Another funny Kathy Hilton moment. So Kathy Hilton's like, I drove here 2 hours. My knees hurt. I drove by myself. Kyle's like, is this the first time you drove to Palm Springs? She's like, I don't drive. What are you talking about? I'm like, Kathy, she's so effing rich. Like, of course she has a driver everywhere. I wonder why she never drive her now, but just the way she said it. I don't drive, I'm driven. Bitch. Kathy's also expecting, where's someone to get my bags? You don't have any assistants here? So poor Kathy Hilton has to grab her own luggage. So Crystal and Sutton arrive. Crystal, you know I usually love what you're wearing, but right here, you're dressed like a cool librarian. We see Crystal and Sutton in the same room. Crystal says she hasn't seen Sutton since the breakdown she had at Lisa Rinna's, but Sutton texts her and they're really cordial with each other. They're getting along. So Lisa tells Lady she's going to check up on Erika to see if she's still on her way. And then that's when Kyle brings up, oh yeah, they had court today. And at this moment, this is when they all hear about how Tom's assets was frozen because they found out that $2 million was used inappropriately. Things are just getting worse and worse for Erika. It really feels like with each episode going forward now that we find out new information that's revealed on Tom and Erika's legal situation. Lisa Rinna again is getting on my nerves, playing dumb, saying, oh, so when they freeze your assets, that mean you can't touch your money? Girl, what do you think? Like, seriously? Like, the way she be coming after Vanderpump as well as Denise, like, she's really playing dumb with Erika's situation. Did she really just ask, what does freezing one's assets mean? Dorit lets us know in her confessional that she too has experienced assets being frozen. I know seeing Erika's situation, Dorit is very glad that the spotlight isn't on her because her and PK had a lot. but no one talked about it. So they're all gathered around reading this article on page 6, and they're just saying this is so awful. And the general consensus is you can't believe everything you read. I'm just like, these are actual facts, like court documents. Like, he got his assets frozen because of misappropriating funds. I don't know what else they need to see. So Lisa calls Erica, and Erica assures her that she's still on her way. I mean, sis better get the filming because she knows she need that check. Wow, they are really talking about Kyle's lasagna a lot. Like, the shot game for this episode is take a shot every time someone says the word lasagna. I'm like, Jesus. So Erica arrives and they are just pouring the love. They greet her with hugs. How are you doing, Erica? Erica walks in like, here we go. Erica playing the victim. Take 1. Kyle is like, Erica, I'm so sorry this is happening to you. I'm so sorry. Again, is anyone thinking of the victims? You know, it's not going to be okay. It's not going to be okay for a long time. So she's telling them about the court case that she had, and she says she still has had no contact with Tom. She also lets them know that her attorney says that he is not mentally well. The thing is, like, I feel like last season, everything was fine. So that means either way, she was lying. Say she is the victim. She was lying back then about everything. I'm guessing what's unsettling is, like, if she is telling the truth in this moment, that means her past 5 seasons, it's been most of a lie. Like, you've been going through all this, you don't tell anybody, nothing comes out. Even with Taylor back in the day, she could not hide from the stuff that she was going through, you know? Like, we couldn't see it, the viewer. But with Erica, like, we didn't see any of that, not even her friends. So the ladies say they understand where Erica is coming from when she said that she didn't know what Tom was up to. Like, with Dorit, she says PK's lawsuit was dealing with the business that happened before they even met, but she got dragged into it too. Kathy Hilton saying, well, if her husband came to her and asked her to sign these documents, she's not going to look it over. She's just going to sign it because she trusts him. Okay. Now Erica is saying that, like, oh, well, first I'm the dumb blonde bimbo marrying for money, and now I'm the criminal mastermind. See, here's my thing. I never thought Erica was dumb. Like, she's very smart. She was smart enough to marry a very wealthy man and was smart enough to get him to fund her entire activities as Erica Jane. So I never thought she was an idiot. Teresa Giudice, she's an idiot. Lord, how many times are we going to see this clip of Tom shushing Erica? Like, oh my God, we get it. They've shown Tom telling Erica to be quiet at least every other episode. Like, they are really giving Tom the evil demon edit right now. I totally forgot that they're filming this during December and it's Christmas time. So they're on the topic of Christmas, and Erica's just saying, well, it's just going to be like any other day. And I think Sutton is encouraging her to be more positive about it and celebrate it anyway because it can always be worse. And then we found out that Sutton's dad killed himself 2 days before Christmas. Now, I didn't know she was 32 when it happened. Jeez, talk about traumatizing. Erica asks Sutton, how did your mom feel about this? And she says her mom was actually pissed because it was the first day of her retirement. Then we get a flashback of last season of Sutton talking to her mom about her dad. And this is a very interesting flashback. We see Sutton crying, telling her mom, don't you miss Dad? Like, you see the writing? Like, that's Dad's handwriting. She's like, I don't miss him. Like, the relationship that y'all had and the relationship that we had was different. Now, for her mom to say she doesn't miss her dad who, like, killed himself, that speaks volumes. I'm like, wow, this man must have been abusive to her or, like, treated her terribly or something, because the way she has no remorse in her face, she's like, no. I do think that even though it hurts to hear her mom say that, I mean, she has to respect her mom had a different experience. So next we see Kyle still trying to make that world famous lasagna of hers. Like, her and Kathy just giggling in the kitchen right now. Okay, Kyle, for this look, you look really good in this confessional. She looks gorgeous. The hair is right. The face is snatched thanks to the Botox, I'm sure. The dress is nice. A1. And here we see Kathy being silly again, trying to serve stale bread. Lisa Rinna is so extra. She wanted to change for dinner, I guess, and she goes from her Gucci jumpsuit to a very shiny, expensive-looking jumpsuit. I mean, she bought all those outfits. I guess she's gonna have to use them. She's gonna be changing 3 times a day. Watch. And Dorit, not to be outshined, changes too. Puts on heels and all. So in this next scene, we see Kathy Hilton struggling trying to get her luggage up the stairs. Erica's just walking up to the stairs. I'm thinking she's gonna help her. She turns right in the other direction to go have a seat with her drink. So she runs into Dorit as Dorit's walking down the stairs, and Dorit actually helps her out. Dorit looks good in this Louis Vuitton number. I like it. Like, if Dorit ain't gonna do nothing, she gonna give us a fashion show, so I'll allow it. So now there's a lot of filler happening. Like, some of the ladies are outside talking about something. I wasn't really paying attention. And then we have Kathy and Kyle again playing around in the kitchen. Kyle drops the spice on the floor and it shatters, and Kathy Hilton trying to do just simple things, trying to clean. It's so funny. I'm guessing that's why the simple life with her daughter worked so well, because it's so funny just seeing her do basic tasks. So that damn lasagna is finally ready. I gotta say, I've seen better lasagna. Like, even when she cut it, it just broke apart. It looks ugly. So Drake follows Lisa Rinna. Interesting. So I noticed something that Erica said in her confessional that was a little strange. So she said she's desperate to do anything to make the situation go away. A prayer circle, a quaalude, lunar eclipse, just not going to confessional. It's where she draws the line. I'm not confessing. Do you have something to confess? It's just strange she says she's down to do anything to make this go away except to confess. So of course they're talking about the situation at the table. Erica saying, you guys are my friends, I appreciate you. Kyle asks her, what happens to Erica Jane? She says she doesn't know. And I'm like, well, I know, now that she's not being funded for it, Erica Jane ain't gonna be anything. Now, if anybody in the comments want to answer this question for me, like, did Erica Jane have like an actual music deal? Because she actually had music videos, she had to pay for that. She had to pay for glam. Like, I'm sure all this came out of her pocket. I think that it cost way more to be Erica Jane than the profit that she was getting from being Erica Jane. So the next fact at the table, she's not gonna get any type of support from Tom, so she's completely on her own money right now. Kyle is low-key asking all the questions. She knows what she's doing. The next fact, when Sutton brings up, do you think that he would just want the divorce to be over with? You know, like, take care of that? Erica's like, well, there really probably ain't nothing to get. Erica agrees that his bar license needs to be taken away from him because he's not well. So again, here we are with the Tom's not well argument. We see Lisa in her confessional. She's saying, well, the last time I saw him, he seemed fine. Then we get the flashback of when they all went to Erica's house and Tom was talking to him for a bit. Like, he seemed really cognizant of his surroundings. He knew he was a lawyer. Like, he didn't seem like touched. Like, Kathy Hilton seems more touched than Tom. Next fact from Erica Jane. She says Tom has been declining for years and she started to notice it. So when she says years, I'm assuming 3-4 years. When she's been on this show, we have not seen any type of inkling that her husband is declining. So Kyle brings up that Tom doesn't really drive himself anymore, right? Like, he got in that car accident from 3 years ago, and then Erica explains that situation. So she said that she started seeing signs because of that car accident. Okay, so here we go, y'all. So Erica's like, yeah, I told you about that car accident, but I didn't tell you everything that happened. So we flash back to 2017. The producers have the footage of Erica telling Kyle that Tom got into a car accident, but it was really nonchalant, like, okay, he broke his ankle. But apparently, a lot more shit happened. So again, y'all, even in this flashback clip, like, if she's innocent or if, you know, she's the victim, she's still lying in this scene. And look how good of a liar she is. If she wouldn't tell them what actually happened in a car accident, why would she tell them what's going on now? Or if she knew what Tom was doing? So she drops a bomb that Tom was actually unconscious for 12 hours after that car accident. So this man went from breaking his ankle to him being unconscious for 12 hours and Erica finding him. He broke his shoulder as well as his clavicle as well. This man should be dead. He should be dead. Like, the way she's describing this. Like, how is it something that serious, but then the flashback in 2017, she's like, oh, he just broke his ankle. He's gonna be fine. The more she's telling this story, now he drove off a cliff. He drove off a cliff. It's like the story keeps getting wilder and wilder. The ladies are gagged. Okay, so now he wasn't with the car, he was down the hill. Yeah, I'm just as confused as Sutton is in her confessional. So he wasn't in the car, he was thrown out and he was unconscious and you found him. So now she's saying Tom called her, so he called you when he was unconscious for 12 hours, or he called you after 12 hours of being unconscious. Like, this man should have been dead. Like, for him to have all these broken ailments and be unconscious, then he just wakes up and like, oh, let me call my wife to tell her I'm down here in a ditch. And then right after, she's like, well, I just thought he was cheating on me. What? This is a lot. This is a lot. The ladies have gasped 5 times in a row just now. I can't believe she's telling these tall tales right now. I'm sorry, y'all. I do not believe this, but there's more. We have 5 minutes left. I really think Erica is putting 20 on 10 with this story. Like, it's just too much. Like, we go from just Kyle asking about a simple car accident to this huge story and then infidelity on top of that. So Kyle says she's actually heard cheating rumors about Tom. She just chose not to say anything about it. Really? Kyle didn't say anything about a rumor, but let it be any other housewife that's no longer on this cast, she would have definitely told the mean girl clique. Like, the way they are protecting Erica, it is just so fascinating to me. So the man is deteriorating, but he also has time to have an extramarital affair. Got it. So I'm guessing the time frame of this scene is when those leaked photos from a flip phone of Tom's came out, and everyone was just like, girl, we see right through this. She then says that Tom did not deny the affair, and Kyle was like, why didn't you just divorce him? She's like, and where I'm gonna go? I'm pretty sure in California, like, especially being married to Tom for 20 plus years, she could have easily divorced him if she knew there was money to be had. I mean, that only leads me to believe now the reason why she divorced him, because she knew about the legal things that was coming up, or that she wanted to hide the assets too. So after seeing this whole confusing story, Sutton changed the topic. Who wants pancake cake? Just wow. So of course all the ladies look like they bought it. Lisa Rinna gives her a big hug. So after that, the topic of conversation goes to Lisa Rinna and her daughter dating Scott Disick, and how she's trying to convince them that maybe it's just a friendship relationship. Girl, he's fucking your daughter. Get over it. So they're all laughing, and that's where the episode ends. Y'all, please tell me y'all don't believe that story. That story was wild, and she did not clarify. First, he was out for 12 hours, then he called her as he was ejected from her car. He knew where his phone was too. His phone wasn't just lying in the car. Now see, if y'all believe that story, then y'all gonna have to believe Jussie Smollett. That's the thing. Like, you believe Erica Jane's story, you're gonna have to believe Jussie Smollett's story too. Because those stories both don't make no sense. Anywho, y'all, please let me know what y'all think in the comments. I'm going to get to this encore review. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see y'all for the next episode. Bye.